Just one more hour until reinforcements, aka me, arrive to save the day. But until then, keep your eyes on the highway and keep on trucking with Jimmy Mack on Road Gang Radio, y'all.
Welcome to Trucking Tributes. I'm your host for Trucking Tributes, Susan Patten. And today on Trucking Tributes, I have a really fun and unique story. Not that all of my Trucking Tributes shows aren't fun, but this one's going to be particularly fun because I am joined today by Jerry Hayes, and Jerry represents Hayes Recruiting Solutions out of Anniston, Alabama. Jerry, thanks for joining my show. I appreciate having you today.
Girl, it is absolutely my pleasure to be here on your show with Wreaths Across America.
Now, the fun part about this, Jerry, I'm going to tell our listeners on Trucking Tributes, and of course, we want to thank the folks on Radio Nemo for having us on this morning on the show as well. But the fun part about this is that you and I, Jerry, met at one of the
Uh,
truck shows in Louisville a couple of years ago. Never
yes,
seen each
ma'am.
other since.
Mm-mm.
You're going to attest.
Actually, well, that is very, very true. I haven't seen you since then. I missed you. I was actually up in Maine last year hauling wreaths with, of
Oh,
all things, I hauled them with my pickup and a box trailer.
okay. Now,
And
don't give out the secret yet.
mm-mm.
We're not going to say anything more about that until we completely unpack your story. And that, your story is what makes this so much fun. I love it. I love it. So let me back up with you a little bit, though, Jerry, so our folks
Okay.
on Trucking Tributes get to know you a little bit. You used to be a professional truck driver. So tell us how you got into the industry and then what?
Yes, ma'am. I was a driver for several years back in the 80s. Started out driving in the oil field, hauling pipe and rigs and everything like that. And then drove for some of them wild and crazy folks back in the early 80s. I ain't gonna mention none of them names. And then I went to work for a company called Creek Carrier. Drove for them for a couple of years, and then they found out I was blessed with a big fat mouth and liked to run it. And they made me their first ever driver recruiter. And I hauled freight back in the day in the late 80s. From point A to point B, and then set up with a little bitty card table, and I'd hire truck drivers right there, Johnny, on the spot.
That is amazing. And then what happened? Because I
Oh Lord! And then my
anymore.
future,
So what are you up to now?
a- and then it got started good. I worked for Crete for 6.5 years. Uh, like I said, they brought me in house. They made me a terminal manager. Then I was in charge of all the owner operators. I've been a director of recruiting for the old Builders Transport out of Camden, South Carolina. Them old ugly green trucks with that ugly yellow stripe down them. Uh, then in 1998, I was going to go to work for another company. Instead, my wife and everybody said, nope, we're going to go sell advertising. So we went, and I went to work for a company called Pollard Publishing back in the day. And we sold advertising for the magazines. And in 2013, me and my wife and my son and daughter-in-law, we opened up a magazine called National Trucking Magazine. It was one of the largest distributed magazines in the industry. But as everybody knows, in 2013, everything went south, so we closed it down. And now we've got Hayes Recruiting Solutions, which is a total digital platform. We deal with all the different platforms out there, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Facebook, Craigslist, you name it. We can do it all. But yes, I still got my roots to the old truck drivers because I still enjoy doing it.
Now, what actually got you started in truck driving, Jerry? So many of our professional drivers that I talk to on Trucking Tributes tell me it was in the family, it was in their bloodline, that diesel was coursing through their veins. What's your story? How did you become a professional driver to begin with?
Well, my granddad was an old truck driver. My uncles were truck drivers and everything. And I went from the Marine Corps, I went to the oil fields. And, when you're in the oil fields, you're liable to do anything. And I got back then, it's called the old chauffeur's license. And I got my chauffeur's license, and we hauled pipe to the rigs and everything like that. And you had to have a chauffeur's license to drive one of the rigs. And so that's how I actually got broke in. And then in 85, the oil field crashed, and I had to do something. So I knew how to drive a truck. So off I went.
Off he
and never look back.
gentlemen. And I was just going to say it. He's never looked back, and I love it. And obviously, coming from, one big mouth who loves to run their mouth to another big mouth who loves to run their mouth, here we are today on Trucking Tributes, and I think it's a beautiful match for everybody to listen to and to hear the story. Now, what you can't hear on Trucking Tributes at the moment is that Jerry has his Wreaths Across America ball cap on, and he
I
is
sure do.
quite broadly and loving that whole moment. So, when did you first actually hear about Wreaths Across America as an organization, Jerry?
Whoa, what? Probably 10 years ago, 8, 10 years ago. You know, I met some of the folks that was, with it and everything, at one of the events. And next thing I know, I started sponsoring, in our magazine, Wreaths Across America, to help promote it, because I am a military person. Between my Marine Corps and Texas Army National Guard, I got 13 years of, service in on
Let's talk
top of
about
everything. And
some of that, Jerry. Why the Marine Corps?
girl, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. So I joined the Marine Corps right out of high school, uh, and went to boot camp, got all that done. I was a field communications person. Enjoyed the Marine Corps, loved the Marine Corps. But in '79, I got married and had to go over to the reserves. So I joined the Texas Army National Guard. And, uh, and as you can see, I'm a big person and I don't fit well in the tank. So I learned something. There's one part of the service that everybody loves, and that's the cooks. And me, I love to cook. So I was a cook for many years, and when I got out, so yeah, I was a battalion mess sergeant when I got out.
Well, Jerry Hayes, you can cook for me anytime, my friend. I'm the cook in the
I
house.
make some mean barbecue ribs now. I go ahead and tell
Oh
you.
boy, you're talking my language. I'm loving it. I'm Susan Patten, your host for Trucking Tributes, and I am having an absolute ball today on Trucking Tributes with Jerry Hayes with Hayes Recruiting Solutions out of Anniston, Alabama. Started out as a professional truck driver, wound up in the Marines, and now, oh, and let's get to the Guard. Tell me about the Guard service too.
The guards, like I said, I come over in the guards. It's a tanker outfit out of Weatherford, Texas. Love the Texas Army National Guard. Absolutely love. Great folks. Great organization. I can't say enough good things about them. They help everybody they can. So yes, I, I love the guard, and then got promoted and everything. Then, like I said, I was in the mess section. Took over as Company A's mess sergeant, and then from there took over, the battalion for a little while, and then got out.
Yeah, I love the service, the military service, and
Hmm.
thank you so much. Jerry, you obviously came from a long line of truck drivers, as you mentioned in your interview, but the
Hmm.
military, why was it so important for you to serve, sir?
If you're going to talk the talk, you should have been able to walk the walk. Uh, in today's world, so many people don't have a clue what the military really stands for. But in my view, and I can only speak for myself, the military signed up for the ultimate sacrifice, and that is to protect this country. And no matter what anybody says, without them, we would not be where we're at today. These young men and women that sign on that dotted line are signing up for the ultimate sacrifice that they're willing to stand up and put their lives on the line to make sure everybody can do what they need to do. Uh, I can't say enough about our young men and women in the service. I mean, I don't care if they're in if you could see it, if you look right here in front of my RV right now, you'll see American flag, and you'll see 5 branches of flags on my stand. I just ain't found a flag for uh the 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 ones up there in the sky.
The
You
Space
know,
Force, would someone
the
please
Space Force.
send Jerry Hayes a Space Force flag? He is missing that flag. He's flying them all
Missing that
proudly
flag.
in front of his RV with he and his wife, and he needs a Space Force flag. So anybody listening today,
Yep.
Trucking Tributes. Get this man a Space Force flag, for crying out loud. Absolutely. I
Yep, I got them all flying proudly.
I am Susan Patten, your host for Trucking Tributes. I'm speaking with Jerry Hayes. We want to thank the folks on Radio Nemo for having us on this morning. And Jerry, you almost let the cat out of the bag, but now is the time. And I'll explain why. We're always saying on Trucking Tributes, Courtney George, our director of transportation, is always saying to people, listen, I can load anything except a tanker and a flatbed. But we make relationships happen and we bring people together and we bring our assets together. And she said, by golly, if I know the dimensions, I can fill it with cases of veterans wreaths. So in comes Jerry Hayes, but he's not hauling a conventional 53-foot van, are you, Jerry? Tell me this.
No, ma'am. Well, it was so funny. Me and my wife, we were up in Bar Harbor last year, and Courtney got us set up to do one of the tours and everything. And a young gentleman that drove for Walmart, he's the man who gave me the tour, and we got to meet the owner out there at the container, the little where the airplane. And I told him, I said, I love your organization. I thought if there was ever any way I could do it, I said, I've got a 14-foot box trailer, 7 foot tall. I would love to be able to come help you. And he said, if you only knew how bad we need you. I said, well, if you need me, I'm there. And so next thing I knew, Courtney and I got together and she said, Jerry, I will make it happen. And so the next thing I knew, I got to go up to Wreaths Across America. Got to sit there, and I had so much fun visiting with all the truck drivers and everybody up there. It's so great to see what all y'all do with Wreaths Across America. I mean, food any time of the day for these drivers, coffee, water, sodas, everything. It was just so great. And I got to haul over 2,000 reefs in my little box trailer. Yes, ma'am.
2,000 wreaths in your box trailer. That
Hmm.
is extraordinary. Now, let's lay it out for folks on Trucking Tributes, Jerry. You didn't at that time know where you were headed, did you?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. When I got up there, I was just told be there. And so I got there on Friday morning before everything got kicked off and told them I was here, told Courtney I was here and everybody. And they said, well, Jerry, we got to get this thing set up for you. I said, no problem. Uh, and the next thing I knew on Saturday afternoon, they said, okay, Jerry, we got you figured out. We're going to give you 3 stops right off the bat. We'll load you here. You'll go to New York, Western Pennsylvania, then Fredericksburg, Maryland. Then you'll go down to Newport, Virginia, reload, come back up into Scranton, PA, drop there, then go down to Ringo, Georgia for your last stop. So I had 5 stops with 2 pickups. So I was tickled to death.
It just, oh my God, Jerry Hayes, I've fallen right in love with you. This is marvelous. This is absolutely marvelous. And I just love this story because
Oh,
it's so unique. And that is how we get it done. I always say on Trucking Tributes, it's a can-do attitude by our professional drivers
100%.
that make this mission happen. And you are testament to that fact, Jerry, that, we've got to make it happen. And by golly, I got to tell you, going into season, which we're in now, in season, hard to believe, for 2025, we are in season already. And we've got well over 5,300 participating locations in addition to Arlington
Wow.
National Cemetery. Yeah. I mean, even as you and I are speaking, Jerry, on Trucking Tributes, our amazing Wreaths Across America liaisons are signing up new locations. And it's our liaisons who are helping, but it's the volunteers who step up. They step up to the plate, just as our military has stepped up to the plate, as you mentioned. Our volunteers do the same, and they say, hey, look, we will start a participating location in our community. Our Wreaths Across America liaisons are in place in order to assist you, to give you all of the tools that you need. Similar to the Trucking and Transportation Division, we try to provide all of the tools that all of you professional drivers are going to need to make this mission happen. And it's happening and it's growing year by year by year. We get bigger and bigger because it's patriotic citizens who say, Hallelujah, we are going to honor our fallen, remember those who serve, and teach the next generation the value of freedom. And Jerry, you've been about the mission, you're all up in it. Tell me about your stops. What was it like to connect with other volunteers?
Courtney told me you got to call each one of them, give them a little bit of advance, and you're going to laugh. My first stop, I called him on Saturday afternoon. I was back in New York Sunday morning at 8 o'clock to the VFW hall there just south of Albany, New York. Uh, and I called the next stop, and it was so fun. I got to meet so many cool people. The next stop was over there just out there in Western PA. I told the lady I was about 4 hours away. She said, "Bring it on." So I went and I took it there, and I called my next stop, and he says, "Well, I can't get you until first thing in the morning." I said, "Well, you know what? I'll be in your front yard when you're ready." And everybody was expecting this semi truck, and all of a sudden I pull up in a blue Dodge with a little box trailer, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I got some wreaths for you." He said, "You must got my leftovers." And I said, "That's what I got." And so I dropped there. I drive all the way down to Richmond, Virginia to reload. And I called my guy. It was so hilarious. He said, "I tell you what," he said, "instead of you waiting till the next day," he said, "how about if you can make it here by 9:30, 10 o'clock tonight, I'll unload you." I get there, I'm in the middle of a cornfield, in the middle of a cornfield and a corn barn and everything. And the man, him and his daughter and son-in-law, he had just got through having surgery, but they're the nicest folks. I can't wait till this year because I get to do it all over again this year. Courtney called me a couple of days ago, and I get to do a little special haul this year.
Are we,
Yes, ma'am.
are we allowed to tell? Are we allowed to break the
I
news?
believe you can.
We're breaking news
I
on Trucking
actually,
Tributes, ladies and gentlemen. I love this. Go ahead.
Courtney called me a couple of days ago and asked me, they said, "Jerry, would you do me a favor?" I said, "What you need?" "Well, you know how we got to normally have everybody come up here, for the haul the main reef. Well, she asked me if I could haul a special load of reef to be delivered to Arlington National Cemetery on December 5th for the international deal they're doing.
Wow.
So, and then I had to go back up to Maine again, get my regular load.
Well, we miss you, so I mean,
That's
only
it.
hours
She
away
knows me. I can't.
again.
I've known Courtney since she was the very first recruiter when she first got into recruiting, and I just can't turn that lovely lady down. She's just so nice. She works so hard to make sure all this gets done. I don't know how she does it with all the different trucking companies, but she's amazing, and I just love being part of it.
Well, you are just such a gem, and that Southern charm is coming out in you just as it comes out in Courtney George, our director of transportation. And you put your thumb right on it. You put your thumb on it, Jerry. I don't know how our transportation division does this either. I swear to goodness, they work a little bit of magic and they sprinkle
Have to.
sprinkle a little bit of that balsam fir dust in the air, and the next thing you
Hmm.
know, things are happening. But it really is because of our transportation industry and our can-do attitude with our volunteers like Jerry Hayes. You're listening to Trucking Tributes on Radio Nemo. I'm your host for Trucking Tributes, Susan Patten, and Jerry is representing Hayes Recruiting Solutions out of Anniston, Alabama. By golly, he's been a recruiter for quite some time, a professional driver, and now he's got that small box trailer with 2,000 wreaths that he hauled last year. And the great part is that you're not always sure where you're headed, but it really illustrates for us, Jerry, that not all of our participating locations, like Arlington National Cemetery, are huge national cemeteries. We have a lot of participating locations that are small community cemeteries. Some of them are out in, if you will, the phrase, we're used to this phrase in Maine, but out in the middle of nowhere. And you can't bring in those big tractor trailer rigs, but we've still got to get those wreaths to our volunteers at a reasonable location so that they can get those wreaths distributed and placed on the headstones of our fallen. And this year, of course, if you're planning and paying and playing the game with us, this year National Wreaths Across America Day is Saturday, December 13th. So we are really looking right down the avenue here at National Wreaths Day. And I know that the transportation sector still needs people to haul wreaths for us. And by golly, Jerry is testament to the fact that we will make relationships happen. If Courtney knows the dimension of your trailer, we've got small construction trailers, we've got motorcycle trailers, we've got you name it. And if you can haul it for us, we need you to haul. And as Jerry pointed out too, some of these wreaths are last minute wreaths that come in after deadline or what have you, and people are still getting wreaths sponsored. So all of a sudden, a location gets their primary load, and then all of a sudden they need more, and we've got to get that load to them. So it is just amazing. What do you now? Was your wife with you, Jerry, last year when you were doing all this? Oh, she wasn't able to
No,
participate.
no, she wasn't able to participate. She stayed with my oldest son and daughter-in-law, and they had a ball down in Alabama. I just jumped in the old truck. Luckily enough, I got a four-door uh, truck, and I did just like I did when I was a truck driver. I slept in my bunk, which is my back seat, and it just, all I'm going to say is something to each and every listener out there. Like Susan was saying, if you got a little box trailer, big box trailer, whatever, they can use you because I am just the feeling you're going to have of delivering these wreaths to our fallen heroes and everything is so much worth it. My wife will tell you that was one of the biggest honors I ever had just to be able to haul them. The leftovers. I thought it was just too cool, and it just gives you goosebumps. Just thinking about it. It's just that cool. So if you've got a box trailer, like Susan said, I don't care if you got it on the back of a motorcycle or if you see my big blue Dodge with my little white box trailer behind me, but I do get Wreaths Across America stickers on it now. Uh, so yes, you'll know it's me, and I wish everybody could get involved with it because it's just too cool.
We need drivers. We need carrier companies. The secret is out. Actually, it's really not a secret at all. We've been talking about it a lot on Trucking Tributes, and that's what Trucking Tributes is all about, to pay tribute and honor to those professional drivers, no matter what size or shape they come in, that they are going to be thanked and appreciated. We have Driver Appreciation Week once a year, every year. Well, for Wreaths Across America, it's truly all year round because the amazing can-do attitude of these individuals that say, look, if you've got a veteran's wreath made and it is destined for a fallen hero, we are going to find a way to get that wreath to its destination. And by golly, Jerry, you going back and forth and up and down. And you touched on the driver's lounge a little bit, and kudos, of course, to the Tyson Food Cooks team because they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. In addition to hauling veterans wreaths, the Tyson Food Cooks team set up and they put out a smorgasbord of food all throughout the season for all of our volunteers, our professional drivers. And you touched on the camaraderie at the driver's lounge. Again, talk a little bit
Uh,
about that, Jerry, and the things you were able to experience there.
the the best way I can say it is back in the old days in trucking, all the drivers would sit around and shoot the bull with each other, the camaraderie, cut up with each other. I met so many drivers that have been doing it for years. I mean, years of the Reefs Across America, and their companies have been doing it over and over again. The Bennett family of companies. I've seen a ton of their folks up there, their vice presidents, and everybody was there, all supporting it. The people from, like you said, Tyson, they got some chefs. They're not just cooks. They got some chefs slinging out some food and
Oh,
everything.
oh yeah,
But
they really,
we
their food
we
is
met just so many cool people up there, and it was like I said, the olden days where drivers could go in a driver's lounge and relax, and there was couches and chairs and tables, a constant flow of coffee and everything. The food was outstanding. Uh, it's just a cozy comfort. When like on Saturday, it was football, and everybody was watching the football, screaming and hollering and yelling. It was just a ton of fun.
And you're
And
bound
I got to meet,
meet Moral Worcester, the founder of Wreaths Across America, because if you think that Moral Worcester is going to miss lunch or dinner at that driver's lounge, you've got another thing coming because that man is driven to know when his belly goes off. And let's face it, he is a hard worker. And he is one of the first in line for whatever great meal that the cook team is going to put out there. And it's wonderful because our drivers all say, I met Mr. Worcester. I mean, Mr. Worcester was
yep.
there. It's like you're darn tootin' he's there. He wouldn't miss it. And he loves coming to the driver's lounge. And of course, our Gold Star families will come in too when they start arriving in Maine to get ready for the annual wreath escort. And
Hmm.
as much fun as Jerry makes it sound coming to Maine, which it is, and we all want to share our hospitality and the experience of being in Maine with everybody, you don't necessarily have to come to Maine. We have now 9 operating cross docks throughout the country, and you can pick up at any one of those cross docks and take a load to a destination. That's why Courtney George, our director of transportation at Wreaths Across America, says, "Hey, listen, reach out. This all begins for you. You become a member of our honor fleet with that first email to Courtney at wreathsacrossamerica.org/trucking or trucking.wreathsacrossamerica.org. Either way, it's going to get to them. So please reach out because where there is a will, as we say, there is a way, and they will make it happen for you. She's also totally willing to talk to your owners of carrier companies to talk about how we can make a relationship happen. And that's how you become a member of our honor fleet. And as Jerry just pointed out, so many members of our honor fleet are repeat carrier companies that have been with us for 10 years or more. Because just like Jerry, as soon as a driver gets done, drops the Veterans Wreath at that destination for those awaiting volunteers, and Wreaths Across America Day is wrapped up, they're already looking forward to next year. And what a thing that is to be able to say, Jerry.
Yep. I want to give one more shout out to one of
Please,
the Reap Across America drivers.
please.
Her name is Jane Good.
I know
She
Jane. I
she's
talked to Jane on.
you know Jane,
Yes.
and she delivers wreaths back in Iowa just so she can lay a wreath on her husband at the time. He was in the military, and she gets to lay a wreath on his grave every year.
It's amazing
She's
story.
trying to get her new company. She's trying to get her new company to let her do it again. But just her story, I introduced her to Dave Nemo last year, and she got to do a complete sit down with Dave Nemo and Jimmy Mack and all of them. And she come back and she was glowing in the dark. She couldn't believe it. But her story's pretty strong. Uh,
Yours very.
Celebrating her husband and everything like that. So I wanted to give a shout out to her and everything that she's done for the trucking industry as well.
Thank you for that, Jerry. Very important. And I've got to tell you, I've been doing trucking tributes now since 2017, and I don't know of a driver that I've interviewed whose story wasn't strong from one perspective
Hmm.
or another. So many, such as yourself, Jerry, have served in the military, so they are military veterans themselves, or they have someone in their family who has served that they want to pay tribute to. And everybody's story is unique and very special to us because they are helping us to remember our fallen, honor those who serve, and teach, most importantly, the next generation the value of freedom. Get in touch with Wreaths Across America. Make 2025 your year to haul our veterans wreaths. And Jerry, I think you'll probably confirm this, one of the most important loads you'll ever haul?
100%. 100%. Uh, if it doesn't, when you go to deliver those wreaths, it will humble you at all of the volunteers that are out there doing this. I was just a small little sliver of one of the wreaths amongst all of them, but it made me stand up and believe again.
Absolutely, sir. Jerry Hayes with Hayes Recruiting Solutions, a digital company out of Anniston, Alabama. And he has been a friend of Wreaths Across America in terms of helping us attract more and more professional drivers. And he was all over the place last year with his small,
All over the
you know,
place.
with his pickup truck and a small trailer, which just goes to prove if you've got something to haul it in, we can load it. We can.
They sure can.
Gary, thanks so much for joining me today on Trucking Tributes. It's been a total.
Thank you so much. It's been absolutely my pleasure, and I can't wait to get up to northern Maine.
We'll see you